Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Foreign Takes. I'm your host, YT, back from the boring ass international break. Who's here with me, boys?
What up? This is Big Lev, Mr. Worldwide, Mr. International Travel.
Phoenix is international now. I see. That's how it
Yes.
goes.
Mr. KG, we're back with a win after the international break. So finally, 2 weeks without a loss and then a win. Amazing.
You see how quickly the tune changes. Boys, we might as well jump into it. I think the most interesting results from this weekend's Premier League games was Arsenal finally losing to Bournemouth. Predictable, right? We couldn't. There was only so many games you can go with a red card before it catches up to you.
I like how he just was finally losing as if it was a 50 game run that they finally lost to. It's not final. It was a stupid mistake by Saliba and it cost Arsenal the game.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, they have to learn a lesson, right? It's like you cannot go 3 games out of 8 with a red card. This is just there's no way you can survive an entire season with this many red cards. It's just
You,
impossible.
you know what
Yeah.
it is, and Big Lev is gonna support me. You know what it is, Big Lev? It is the training that Arteta did before the start of the season to be aware of his phone, and they went too aggressive with it. That's why they got 3 red cards.
Yeah, well, I mean, the truth is, it was a terrible back pass, right, by Trossard, and then boom, Saliba's now under trouble.
No, you know what it is? It was like, how can we disappoint Arteta? And they were like, okay, let's disappoint him with the red cards.
I mean, listen, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a terrible. It's a bad loss, but it's not like the end of the world, right? It's still fortunately early enough.
I
Lessons have
mean,
to be learned.
you're what, like two points behind Liverpool?
Yeah, 2 points, and we play on the weekend, so it could go 5 points, or it could go back to 1 point up. So it's not a terrible result in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Dude, it's, I don't know, like, it's not, but you know where the standard is, right? Not for Liverpool, but where the city standard will be. So, can you really afford this to be one of your defeats? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, it's the equivalent of Liverpool losing to Forest at home. It's like, it's just
Fair
an
enough.
unnecessary loss that should not be done. But fortunately, City isn't in that, crazy form yet. So it's still like, these are the games to lose now, and then you have to go on a winning streak. I think that's kind of the mentality behind it.
I would be more worried about Arsenal not being able to score.
Yes. But
That would
also,
be a bigger worry.
I think the big thing is we're missing Bukayo Saka on the right. That's fine. We're also missing Odegaard, and you could see it makes such missing one is fine, but missing both, we cannot lose them both for another game. Realistic. We saw it again today against Shakhtar. They could not produce any magic. Like we need our 2 best players. We need at least one of them to be there. Like they are our creative outlet. Sadly,
Too defensive, too defensive. Your next game is against Liverpool, and you're gonna be dropping more points. And I think City hasn't started to lose their points yet, and you
Yeah.
have already lost a bunch of points. And when City will lose, you will catch up to them. But then Arsenal's going to have another slump because it's Arsenal. So that's my takeaway from it. If Arsenal were able to score, and if it was a one-off, having what is it, 3 red cards straight in 3 games,
I think 3 and 5 games or something like that.
it's just shambles. Honestly, it's
Yeah,
shambles.
it is.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
the thing is that just them being unlucky, or is there something happening like there's no discipline, or Arteta is telling them to play more rough?
no. I
Because
mean,
Arsenal has always been like in the last 10 years, oh, they're soft, they're soft, they're soft, and I wonder if they're like overcorrecting for that now.
I mean, 2 of the red cards were terrible. Like one is a double yellow for Declan Rice with the ball kick. They were just the typical, the beginning of the season. The Pedro Mel
Mm-hmm.
says we're going to do this, and then they forget about it after 5 games. So we suffered 2 of those. Again, it's still our fault for giving the refs the opportunity to do that. But I think I do take what you say. We are definitely a much tougher team. We're not bullied by anybody. I think physicality is actually one of our strong suits. But I don't know. I think the next couple of games will tell. I am quite worried about the game on the weekend, but I think going back, KG, you were mentioning City. They pulled another one again out of the bag against Wolves. It's the same old shit, right? They've already
Out
started
of the
with this
bag,
shenanigans.
out of the bag by John Stones. I mean, they didn't deserve to win, to be honest. Wolves were doing amazingly defensive on the defensive side of things. They didn't create a moment that you know how tension builds and then a goal comes. That wasn't happening during that game. Wolves were solid. A bit unlucky. The VAR review, of course, is not going to overturn it. I personally think that there shouldn't have been a VAR review overall, but if you already prompted it to have a review, just overturn it. Like if something caught your eye that we think should not have even been considered, that means that there is some legal legislation that you think shouldn't have been overturned. Why didn't you do it? Shady decision just to let City celebrate. Any City win like that honestly feels soulless. But yeah, I was wondering what was your opinion on Gary O'Neill saying that if it's a better story that City win on the last moment than
I mean, he's
Wolves.
not wrong, right? I think if people are like picking apart, it's like, oh, this. I'm like, he's not talking about specifically this goal. He's talking about in general. He's essentially saying big teams always get favorable decisions, and we are not a big team, so we do not get favorable decisions. Is he wrong? Absolutely not. It's been very clear to anyone with any eyes that City have had favorable decisions for them for the last couple seasons. So I think the mistake he made was he went too far. It seemed like he was trying to say, it wasn't our fault. He should have just stopped at his first couple sentences because he's trying to get heat off of him at the end of the day, right? They're bottom of the league. They have 0 wins. I think they have 1 point after 8 games. They haven't played terribly. That's the problem. They've played, I think, 7 of last year's top 8 they had in their first 8 games. That's a terrible start. Like, it's unfair for any manager, right? So I think he's just trying to buy himself some time. They should not fire him. This is the only thing I maintain, and I don't know if you guys agree or not. Let him have another couple more games against teams that are in the middle and the bottom. He will show what he's about. Playing last year's top 7 of the 8 is not a good way of judging him. I think it's kind of fair to say.
I agree. I agree. You know who
Yeah.
should be fired
Who?
is Glasner or I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly from Crystal Palace. That guy is out the door. Like they told him he has 4 minutes of 4 games essentially.
Who's the West Ham manager? Lopetegui?
Yeah,
Yes.
He should be fired.
I mean, they're
yeah,
all doing terribly. I mean, Glasner,
Bring
one
back
more loss and
Moisey.
he's gone.
Bring back
yeah.
Moisey, bro.
Moises should do
Moises
both.
Moises is gonna go to Crystal Palace allegedly. Allegedly.
Allegedly. Allegedly.
I mean, okay. Another team that seems to be on the up and up, aka they've had one good result, is your boys KG. They came
Uh,
back. They're top of the second half, aka the number 11. They had a
yes.
pretty, I wouldn't call it great win, but they had a decent win against Brentford at home 2-1. Is this improvement or is this just they won a game?
Yeah, they won a game. That's what it is. It's a story of two halves. Again, I don't want to be cliche, but that's what it was. The start of the game, anyone who was a United fan watching the game was going probably like, how boring is this? Why am I wasting my time watching them play? Up until the goal. And again, anything that can go wrong at United will go wrong. They're just it's just that type of a season. Like that goal was that they considered at the end of the first half is just peak United, peak circus. Like, why can't you just wrap up his head 3 times before that when you did it for the first time? Of course, he had to get his head wrapped up right before a corner. By the way, from a shitty throw in by the law, which nobody mentions, but he had a stinker of a first half. And then in the second half, they came out angry. And what in the post game interview Ten Hag said was that that situation angered them and they played better. So apparently everything else is not angering them. They just that injustice should happen so they can go and play. But being 10th is not an injustice for this squad.
Yes.
So it's not that I'm saying, oh, we're back, oh, we're so back. We're not. Let's see what the next games produce, especially against Mourinho and his Fenerbahce side with a handful of ex-United players. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. I mean, let's be very honest. We all know he just extended his execution by another week, right? Because
Dude,
nothing.
I love when his job is on the line, they suddenly start playing well.
They
And
both
then
want results.
just for that to last like another month and then they
Yeah.
immediately turn to shit.
Yeah. I guess. Okay. Quick question, boys. Is he gonna survive till the end of November?
Depending on the
Yes.
results.
Yeah, at this point, like he's probably gonna make it to like December, at which point they should reevaluate to see if there's anyone available. Because they're not gonna at this point. Why would you buy more players for him?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. It's going to be interesting, honestly. It's just they just the lack of patterns of play are just terrible.
it's just terrible. But the second half, they were great. It was
Yeah.
great football. There was actually patterns of play. The question is, where was that the whole time? That's the question. It's like, oh, you need to get angry. What are you, the Hulk? Oh, when you were angry, injustice happened. And one last thing that I'm gonna say: there is no amount. There's no word for the amount to be correct of hate and anger and despise I have for Luke Shaw. I want to spit in that man's face if I ever see him. You know, people want to take a picture, they want to sign an autograph. I want to spit in Luke Shaw's face. For the past year, he played 5 games for United and 2 semifinals for England. He got injured in February. It's almost February now. He's still not back. And United fans can hate me all they want. Oh, he got a leg breaking injury, blah, 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 blah. The management of United is at fault for giving him a new contract knowing his leg. That's number one. Number two, not signing a left back when you need a left back. They haven't played with a proper left back since February.
And it's obvious, right? Like you can tell it is a pain point for the team.
Yes, and they're like, oh, Shaw's going to be, and that's part of the reason for the favor of Ten Hag and his candidacy because he's saying, oh, my medical staff told me Shaw's going to be back. That's why they canceled Regulon's. Regulon was on loan and he was playing. So if he didn't even play since February, oh, Shaw was playing till February. He wasn't playing last year as well. He was injured last year this period of time. So that just no amount of hate. I hope he retires. Phil Jones was a much better player for United than Luke Shaw ever was or will be.
Right. We're gonna pause you before you go further and we get even more hate. I think the last Premier League game to touch on is probably Liverpool versus Chelsea. Of course, Liverpool pulled us out of that bag. Big Lev, how do you, it was pretty standard
What do you
run of
mean we
the
pulled it out of the bag, you hater? It was a convincing victory by our hero of the week, the Kurt, bro. The Kurt got us a penalty. He got us the goal. Amazing play. It was good. I told you. I said in a group chat, both teams gonna score because Chelsea are too open for them not to concede. But they're very good attacking wise, which was evident. But at the end of the day, they didn't have enough. Could have been more. If Kurt was slightly faster, they could have had the goalkeeper sent off another pen. So,
Yeah, I mean, you
but
have to admit, Chelsea definitely had their moments, right? Like there was periods where
yeah,
they were really dominating. It's just the final pass into the third just wasn't working for them. It just did not seem to be clicking. But they definitely
no,
were dominating for certain periods of the game.
no, and Curtis Jones did a really good job covering Palmer. Like a
Yes.
couple of times, he was just like there last minute to just not let him shoot, and I was surprised pleasantly by his contributions.
Yeah. Palmer is, even in this game, he is still dangerous, right? Knowing that he had a focus, he still
Yeah,
finds ways to make himself effective. It's actually very impressive for such a young player.
Actually, for Palmer, it's like you can see that the Chelsea team is starting to have a character and have a threat. Like the only not Sancho had a stinker, by the way. Where are all those fans who glazed over him? He plays for 3 games and then he does
Same
this
thing.
shit show. But for Chelsea, if you would sense danger, like they're not a laughing stock anymore, and it's because of Paul. Because every time he's on a ball, you can sense that he's gonna find a pass, make a run, or shoot, and it's gonna be lethal. And they also have good subs in the likes of Nkuku and Pedro Neto. So I think going forward, they're really good. Their midfield is a little bit disconnected. I think Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez are not ideal because they're too similar, and then their defense is just shambles. What's your opinion, YT, on the red card that wasn't given for the exact foul? Which, by the way, I'm going to say that it happened. This exact foul happened in 3 games, with the Arsenal game and Milan game going just 30 minutes between each other, a difference. There was an exact same foul in the Milan game that got the red card. Arsenal and Saliba got a red card for the last minute foul, and the next day that wasn't given as a red. What's your opinion?
At this stage, the first thing everyone says is, "Oh, there was a player covering." I think in the Chelsea game, it was, "Oh, Levi Call was covering." But in the Arsenal game, if you look at the angle that the ball is going, Ben White will make it there as well. I'm so sick of it. It's either a red card for everybody or it's a yellow card for everybody. Just give us consistency. That is all I am asking. I think the frustrating thing for me is the refs take a view, the assistant refs take a view, and then VAR gets involved. And yet they still make a different decision. So there's three different people who have seen the game like the day before in the Chelsea game, and at this stage I'm like Arteta. He says the only thing I can say is nothing. I have nothing to add to this. There's nothing productive will come out of this because why isn't it a red card in the Liverpool game? He was never going to catch it. Never. He was never. I know he's like next to him, but the guy has such a huge advantage because he's the one sprinting full speed. It should be a red card, or it's not. So I don't know. At this stage, whatever. I've just given up with the refs. To be honest, we see that they don't give a shit about fixing this game. Like that's the truth, right? Like VAR. Howard Webb was texting. I don't know if you guys saw immediately. He was
Yeah,
on his phone. I was like, "What the hell are you doing, man?" Like, I've
give
given
him a
up at this
yellow.
stage.
Give him a yellow. Okay, that's what it was texting. But yeah, the decisions in this game were a bit dodgy, and it just showed that Liverpool's in a better position in terms of having a squad that's have been playing with each other for 3 or more years, whereas this is a new squad that has a lot of time. Liverpool just won them on class, as
Yeah,
you would
I
say.
mean, the big one that was like surprising to me was I think Jota got injured and Darwizi 2024 came on. Amazing. It's crazy. I know he had a kind of shaky-ish like first couple games where Slot didn't really seem like he was about to start him. Amazing game. He just causes so much chaos. You can see the fans love him, the players love him. The Liverpool team looks good. The one weak spot we talked about was the six. I don't know, man. Ryan Gravenberch is on absolute fire right now. So they seem on top of it. To be honest, like I'm really impressed. I'm worried that Liverpool will keep this up and they're going to build a 10, 12 point lead by Christmas, honestly. I feel like that's the trend it's going
To
towards.
you,
Well,
not to
Liverpool
City.
has like just a very insane schedule in the next 2 months. So if they come out of that, and we talked about this in the last pod, if they come out of this on top, then it's like a real testament. So let's see. First real test was a success.
Yeah. This weekend, also, you guys have a huge advantage. We don't have Saliba, who is basically. So, and the replacements for Saliba are all terrible. So I actually don't know what we're going to do. That's actually the biggest
Arsenal,
worry.
Arsenal are going to park their bus. Yeah, you know what you're going to do with the game plan that you have and zero creativity going forward. You're going to be begging for a draw.
I mean, it,
Arteta would bite your arm out if you offered him a draw right now.
I would too. The biggest question is if Saka is back or not. If Saka is not back, we have to. We basically don't have a choice but to play for the counter. If he's back, I think we'll actually come out to play, to be
Well, don't you
honest.
think Raheem Sterling is not good enough?
No comments.
Oh,
No, I
Maybe
mean,
Raheem.
who's gonna replace Saka, right? It's like asking, oh, who's gonna replace Salah? Like, it's hard to fill that gap in the team when he does such a big
It's
part.
gonna be either Gakpo or Jota or Chiesa.
Yeah, but they're not the same, right? It's Salah is
But
Salah.
still better than Sterling, you
Yeah, well, no comments. I think
know.
uh, just leaving PL for a sec. I think let's just touch on the Champions League results. Actually, let's touch on Valencia. Can we talk about Valencia, bottom of the league? Peter Lim, is it finally happening, boys? Are they finally getting relegated?
They should get relegated. They're just awful. They lost to Las Palmas, and I just randomly found them bottom of the league. I was like, what is happening to Valencia? They're just in shambles. Sevilla was in shambles, but they are like 10 times that shambles. Like they're getting relegated.
I mean, explain to me why he just refuses to sell. He clearly hates the club. He hates the fans. He's such a big. I'm like, just sell the damn thing, get your money back, and leave. Why is he being so vindictive? I don't understand.
And it's so sad because it's such a club with so much history. Like they were
yep.
the first to break that the duopoly of Barcelona and Real Madrid. Benitez came through there. Just the unquestionable amount of legends from Canizares to Gaisca Mendieta to all of them.
David
And
Villa, bro.
David
David Villa.
Villa. And now they're just bottom of like not even a serious team. They were the serious team 10 years ago. Now it's the Sociedades, the Gironas, the ones that are the Atletico Madrids. the ones that are catching up to Barcelona and Real. But yeah, sad to see.
Sad to say. And then on a more positive, Kane, boys, we got to talk about Kane. I think what 6 hat-trick in 30 something games is he gonna break? My, first of all, for good records, will he win anything this year at Bayern? That's my first question.
He probably,
Yeah, he'll probably win Bundesliga.
You think
yeah,
so? What happens if he breaks the scoring record but doesn't win the Bundesliga? At that stage, he's definitively cursed, right? We admit he is absolutely a cursed man.
probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, how can he score this many goals and not be top of the league? That's my question.
Well, he has a bold fraud manager, so
Yeah. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking because he's such a bold fraud, he's gonna rip a page out of this master's book, and he's not gonna be serious about the Champions League or the Cup. He's gonna focus on the league, win it, and then he's gonna be like, "You see, Tuchel sucked last year. I'm winning this year." But to be honest, like you never know what you can expect from company. They're still a bit dodgy, and they're gonna play
Yeah,
against Barcelona tomorrow. Which, by the way, Barcelona's on fire. It's gonna be an interesting La Liga season because both Real Madrid and Barcelona are on fire. And this is the first time, and probably since Ronaldo and Messi left, and that was what 10 years ago already, not 10 years, 7 years ago. That El Clasico is going to be interesting because
yeah,
Lewandowski scores hat tricks as well. By the way, every weekend, and Vinicius Junior and Mbappe are just running around beating Borussia Dortmund to the pulp.
yeah. I mean, Hansi Flick really proving his worth, right? Doesn't speak Spanish, learning it, has translators, and he still managed to turn the team around. I like all credit in my mind to Hansi Flick. Imagine Bayern had brought back Hansi Flick instead of Baltraj, and yet they
No.
decided to not go that direction. Crazy, honestly.
S- Speaking of German managers, what's your take on England getting Tommy T
Tommy
and
T.
the hate that he received?
boo,
First of all,
boo.
very good decision by the FA. And then we saw the media come out. Because you know this, he's a good tournament manager. It's an 18-month contract. It's basically like he does it for the World Cup and then he moves on back to, I don't know, Man United or something. I honestly think it's a fantastic decision. Like, I think it's a good match.
I don't know. He's famous for just like alienating a lot of players.
Wait.
What
See, I
I think,
agree with you, but he doesn't get to see them every day. This is the benefit. He doesn't get to annoy them and they don't get annoyed by him. They see him once every month. So I
uh,
think his biggest pain point is that he
he's
alienates,
like,
but
we'll see, man. I think he's a bit of a see you next Tuesday, but and England has always been drama-filled team.
that's true. That's true. What if they win it with Tommy T?
They're not gonna win it. Tommy T, or you can have Jesus Christ as their manager. They're
No,
just
no,
losers.
no. I think with Tommy T they have a real shot. It's not the Southgate. It's not a Southgate appointment. It's just I'm more appalled by the media backlash, how openly racist they can be, and it would not be classified racism. Just the audacity to think that they need to have a British manager. The audacity. Like how many British managers win the Premier League?
Are in the
Tell
Premier
me, name
League.
me. No, not won the Premier League, not even in the Premier League. Won the Premier League. How many British managers have done that? Okay, not even British, English. They're specifically talking about English managers
Yeah.
should be playing English style of football. The audacity. You just drove around football while you were colonizing people. Okay, you didn't create the game. Okay, you barely won one World Cup at home thanks to a referee who was from the Soviet Union, and to have the audacity to be like, oh, a German is not good enough, and just to hate him, not because of his tactics, not because of his man management skills and the pain points that you, YT, are bringing up, being more professional in your analysis than Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville.
Those two. But this is it. I think people are really beginning to see how fucked up the media is, like the English media. He has won the Champions League. He's won the Bundesliga. He's won. I think he actually won the Premier League too, right? With Chelsea
He,
that one year.
no, he
No.
won the Champions League
It
with
was the
Chelsea.
Champions League.
It
He
was
won
Conte.
obviously in Liga, but that's kind of he's a
Yeah.
winner. Like guys, this is literally what he does. He wins cups. He's a cup specialist, and he also has won other things. Honestly,
No, if it was Pep Guardiola, they would be sucking his dick to come
Of
to England.
course.
They still are, and it's not English. The English manager should be playing in England. If it was Mourinho, they would be okay with it. They just don't like it because it's German, because they think they won the World War II and he's German. Like, they're bringing that history up. I don't
Uh,
even know why, but it's just so stupid to make those comments. Just tell them we don't like this his tactics. Make it that the reason, but they can't make that the reason because they like his tactics. They just don't like the fact that he's German, and it's
yeah.
so stupid. If it was Pep
That.
Guardiola, they would beg him, beg him.
Yep.
It's just,
Very much agreed. Before we wrap up, boys, any outstanding things from today's Champions League games?
oh, today was a day when a lot of people missed their pens. That's all I gotta say. 3 penalties missed in a span of just actual 10 minutes between each other.
It's crazy, right?
Hilarious, hilarious to see.
Yeah,
And
and of course Dortmund. Being Dortmund.
Dude, the Arsenal of Germany. Just choke, choke, choke.
Oh, even we're not as bad as them. Thank goodness. Oh, they're terrible.
not anymore. But yeah, what a choke master in
Yeah.
general.
Well, actually, so quick one. Let's do this very quickly because we're almost out of time today. Donkey and hero of the week, boys.
Dude, hero of the week, my boy Curtis Jones. Could have had 2 pens, scored the goal, covered Cole Palmer. Donkey of the week, William Saliba. He's been donking around for a while now. What a
Unfair, but
donkey.
interesting. My hero of the week goes to Chris Wood, the massive human. He shouldn't score the way he does, but he's worked so hard, has so much quality, super underrated. I feel like he really deserves a shout out. Chris Wood, well done, my friend. My donkey of the week, honestly, Oliver Glasner. I don't know what you're doing, man. Like, this team is absolute garbage. Like, you need to go, sadly to say. Yeah, sorry, Glasner. KG?
My hero of the week, and this is gonna be controversial between you lot, is gonna be John Stones, because it's the second time he scores and wins for City or draws against Arsenal in that case.
Yeah.
So hero of the week for sure. He has that. Hero of the week, amazing defender. And my donkeys of the week, obviously, is the medical staff at Manchester United who couldn't wrap the head of one defender and led to a goal. That's the most obvious donkey of the week. How could you not do your job? They're probably like, we don't have enough band-aids and our cost cutting doesn't allow us to buy band-aids. Let's wait and we can freeze it. Oh no, it opened up again. Come here. Oh no, bandages. It's the last one for the season. Fucking idiots.
Bunch of idiots, truly. That's a wrap for us, boys, on that very positive note. And we'll be back next week to discuss all of the rest of the Champions League highlights. The Wednesday Champions League game, United's foray in Conference League, or Europe, or wherever. The not Champions League, and then the Premier
Oh,
League games.
sorry. Beating Shakhtar is too convenient for you, isn't it?
Goodbye from me.
Peace.
Goodbye forever.